Hello, everybody, and welcome to One Day Many Years Ago. My name is Gary Krepak. I'll be your host. And this series is all about you guys watching me paint poorly while I tell stories about my life in the rock and roll business and about being a club and rave and live band DJ for the majority of my adult life. So here we go. We're going to start with some gesso because I really love the look of impasto and texture and three-dimensionality of paintings. So we're going to start out. I need kind of a gray background, a dark gray background. So we're going to take some Liquitex acrylic and some Daler Rowney acrylic gesso to give it some dimension. Now, tonight I'm going to tell you a story that happened in approximately early summer 1994. This event occurred before the internet, and therefore you can't just Google this event. It was early in my DJ career. I had just been stolen by a nightclub in downtown Shreveport, and then this nightclub didn't just feature me and the other resident DJ, John Lomax. We had regularly hosted events with national touring artists that would come and play on our stage about once or twice a month or so. And that would start off a very long career of me working with a lot of well-known national artists and internationally known artists, and I got to work a lot of really historically significant events, and I got to meet some really incredible people along the way and have some really wild life experiences. Now, as you can see, I have a really nice dark mixture of gesso and black acrylic mixed up here that's kind of close to the black, for the dark gray I'm looking for as a background for this painting. And I'm going to tell you a story about one day many years ago. I left my Bossier City apartment and go to my job in downtown Shreveport. And I got to the place and I unlocked the front door. And much to my surprise, I realized that I wasn't the first person there, which normally I was. Normally I was the first one to work. And I'll fill you in about that later. And I walk in the door, and I noticed that a couple of lights were already on, and I walk around the front wall of the club, which had water features in it. One cool thing about wet bars, we had a lot of really neat water features that the club owner and Lomax and the guys had put together in the place that were really, really neat. And I looked at the dance floor, and we had a bunch of round top tables surrounding the dance floor, and I noticed there was a lady sitting at the table, and I wasn't really expecting anybody there, and or at least not that early, and I just assumed maybe she was one of the employees' moms or something. Now, to the painters out there in the world, I'm going to go ahead and give this disclosure now and won't mention it again for the rest of the series. I am not a trained painter. I've got some art instruction from the public school system in the 1980s, and also from my grandfather Chuck. If you watch the pilot, you'll learn more about Chuck. Anyway, so here we go. I'm going to lay down a background of gray, a dark gray here. Since it was a very dark nightclub, it was basically all black inside. So when you walk into this place, you ran into a wall, and that wall had some water features in it, like these really cool square panels with these cells of water and bubbles that went up, and they were gray, they were green and blue in color when the lights were on and they were running. And when you walk around the corners, just the whole place was just this black and gray. And I kind of wanted to lay that down as a base here. And if any artists out there, and I have a great deal, many friends of mine that are professional artists that know what they're doing, that know how to lay down a background. If you guys want to DM me or text me and let me know, or just leave in the comments how I can do this better, because all I'm doing for you guys is painting poorly and telling you stories about my memories and the rock and roll business. So this woman sitting at the round top by the dance floor, I assumed was somebody's mom. And I'm like, man, whose mom is this? Why is she in the building right now? And why is she alone? Like, nobody was in the building with her. And I walked closer to her, and I noticed, and I'm like, man, she's kind of hot. And she was wearing a white tracksuit. Now, back in the early and mid 90s, tracksuits were still very much a thing. And she was wearing a very nice new tracksuit and a very nice set of white running shoes. And she was just sitting there minding her own business. Remind you, this was 1994. She wasn't playing on her cell phone. She was just sitting there staring off into space, waiting for somebody to show up. And I saw her there, so I approached her and introduced myself. And I asked her, well, hey, can I help you? And she goes, well, yes. And she introduced herself. I was like, oh, okay, yeah, well, okay, wonderful. And I had a little conversation with her. And we were expecting her. And I just didn't recognize her at first. And I go up the stairs to our DJ booth. And I turn on some lights, and I turn on some background music for me and for the bartenders and the barbacks to set up to. We always had a little bit of working music rolling in the background while we worked, and because I cannot stand silence. And so I'm, doing my thing. I'm getting the booth organized and prepared, and I had some new music I needed to drop needles on to see what it was like and where it would fit in my sets and stuff. And, I just kind of busy with myself with that for a little while. And then there was a loud knock at the door. And I go down the stairs to the front door, and there was a gentleman there. He said, hey, your RV is here. I was like, okay, cool. So they park an RV in the alleyway next to the nightclub. And then the lady in the tracksuit goes outside and gets in her RV that we had rented for her as a dressing room. And a couple hours go by, and then Bruce Moore, our sound rental guy, well, about once or twice a month, we would rent a really big Yorkville Elite, old school ground stack concert sound rig from him. And he would come in and set that up early in the day, like sound contractors do. And he showed up early in the day and set stuff up, and line checked everything, and everything was golden. And the day rolled on, and I didn't see her again. She just hung out in her RV the whole time. And meanwhile, I'm getting, my library organized for my sets for the evening. And after a while, the doors open. And Lomax was in the booth with me. And, and he was pretty much in control of the lighting and the really cool video graphics that he would make on this old school Atari Amiga computer system that he would edit and make all these cool graphics and logos and really wild video edits of like elephants having sex and stuff. It was awesome. And Lomax was doing his thing, and I was doing mine, and the doors open, and I noticed that the crowd coming in, these people were a bit older than we were used to. And they were a little bit older, and they were very, very well dressed. It was a nice, lovely crowd. I would love to have played for this crowd every weekend if I could. I really, really love these guys that came for this show. And so the night goes on. So I'm playing a little bit of a retro set. Given our headliner that night, I was playing some older stuff, like stuff I'd grown up with, like stuff I'd watched my parents disco dance to. And shout out to Mom and Dad, love you. And so I was playing some disco and funk and some early 80s stuff, and it was just fun, and we were loving it. And that went on until about 10 o'clock. And then the time came, for the show to go on. And I look up, and we bring the kind of the music down, and we stopped playing music through the club system and turned it over to Bruce Moore for his sound system for people to kind of get acclimated to the sound of his system into the room. And did that for a while. And then, I was really waiting for this middle-aged, soccer mom to come around the corner, but we didn't get her. No. We didn't get her at all. So her intro music is playing, and this absolute smoke show bombshell in a black sequin dress walks up the stairs to the second level dance floor and takes her wireless mic off the stand. And that's when Deborah Harry rocked our world. Okay, that was one day many years ago. Again, my name is Gary Krepak. I'll be your host. I have a whole bunch of these stories left to unfold for the next week or so. I have about 15 episodes written, and I'll be working on this piece as we progress through the series. Shout out to Little Shop of Music and Scott Auer. Shout out to all of my friends out there in the world that have encouraged me to do this and have supported my efforts all along. Thank you very much. Guys, look in the comment section. I'm expecting to have a life-changing surgery here very soon. And it may affect my memory, which is why I'm sharing these stories now while my memory is still intact. Again, my name is Gary Krepak. Thank you for watching One Day Many Years Ago.